Welcome to Handson with Jota. So today we are going to take a look into bar, let, and const. So we're going to make a very small example in regard to each one of them and just see how they are behaving at some point, right? So let's say that we have here a function that says bar example, and then we say bar equals 0 log I. So then we go to the next function, which is going to be like this. We define it like this, one after the other, but this is going to be example 2, example 1. Good. So okay, we have the very first example in regards to bar, and let's see how it behaves, right? So we come here, go to inspector, we put the console, so there it is, the 0, and now we'll go for the next one. So now it says undefined, and this is pretty much interesting stuff, because basically here it says that there is an I that has been undefined, but this should throw an error if you were using another kind of types of declaration, like saying let or const. The reason is because when we were using bar in the old days, basically this was getting hoisted in a way that it was defined at first glance with undefined. So basically it was being assigned with this value whenever it was created with bar. And as a good practice, when we were working in the past with JavaScript and bar, we were using the bar on the top of the function, just right after the function declaration. We had all the different variables that you have there. So let's go for the next one. Let's go for instead of bar, we are going to say let. So there we are. We just write these two examples, right? This is going to be pretty much small examples, right? So this one says that the value is 1, and that's what we were expecting for. The second one is actually throwing an error, and this is what we are looking for. You see, the definition of let here is actually after this guy. So basically, here you're having the problem that this has never been defined before, and this is the way it is going to fail here when you're looking for this I in this piece of code, in this line. So there's a bit more in regards to let, which is the scope. If, for example, you go for something like this one, but instead of this, we're going to say 3. We're going to clear up this. Let example 3, and you see that it has not been defined, and the reason is because the scope of the if, which is declaring the block scope here, is going to be with the curly brace here and the curly brace at the end, and then it's going to say, okay, this I is going to be living in the scope of this if. So if you have scopes, block scopes like these ones, the variables are going to be using that block scope. This in regards to let, and in regards to const, this behavior will repeat, but the difference in regards to const is the following. We can say that we will increase the size of this screen a little bit here. We are going to change this for const. So now we have the example for const. Const example 1 is as we're expecting. Const example 2, it is failing as we're expecting for the let as well. Const example 3, Let's increase also the size here. Yes, that's a bit better. So const example 3 is also going to fail in the same way it was failing for let, because it is in the scope of this definition of the if. Okay, last but not least, there is one more thing that comes all the way with the const. Basically, here in the const, you can have something like this one. When you define a const here, here we have const 4. So basically, the offering of in regards to the constant definition is that you're not going to be able to reassign this value of this I that I have here, this variable that was defined as 0, then you cannot define it as 1. So yeah, basically these are the 4 different kinds of types that you have for variable definitions. I recommend to take a look into whenever you have a bar, just try to consider into using something like a let or a const that drops you some of these different reference errors and type error and assignments and so on. So you're going to be able to be sure that the next steps on your code are going to be pretty much clear in regard to, okay, this is your definition of this variable and how is that going to be changing along the time of the program that you're going to be working with, or what is the scope of this definition of your variable. So all these kind of topics comes in regards to the definition of the variable. So I recommend you to take a look into let or const instead of bar, and also whenever something is not going to change, just go for the const instead of the let. So yeah, that's it in regards to this. I hope that you enjoyed the video of today, and if you did so, just click the like and subscribe to the channel.